In this video, I'm going to teach you how to build a relationship with God. But first, if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we release new videos. Also, leave us a comment below on what types of videos you would like us to create, and don't forget to hit the like button and share this video. I've been struggling with my faith for years, but after listening to many lectures from different people, I finally found the best way for me to get closer to God, and it's really working. So, what am I doing? Well, first off, we can't just be good on Sundays or when we feel like it. We need a daily routine that helps us develop an intimate relationship with God. That's why every morning before work, school, or anything else, you're going to spend about 10 minutes in prayer where you talk about what's going on in your life and ask Him for guidance throughout your day ahead. Building a relationship with God is one of the most important things you can do in your life. It's a way to connect with the divine and to experience the love and support of the higher power. Here are a few tips on how to get started. First, find out what it means to you. What does God mean to you? What do you want from this relationship? Once you have a better understanding of what you're looking for, you can begin to focus on ways to develop that connection. Next, start by spending some time with God. This can be praying, meditation, or simply taking some time each day to connect with your spiritual side. As you spend more time with God, you'll start to form a stronger bond and learn more about what He wants in your life. Finally, be open to the experience. Don't try to control or force things. Let God work in His own way and simply enjoy the journey. Remember that it's a relationship, and like any good relationship, it takes time and effort to grow. But with patience and dedication, you can build a strong connection with the divine. I developed a personal relationship with God after experiencing some trials and difficulties that I knew only He could help me overcome. It was a difficult journey, but it was well worth it. I would encourage anyone looking to build a relationship with God to start by spending time with Him and be open to the experience. It takes patience and dedication, but the rewards are incredible. I knew a lot about God pretty much all my life. It took a while to really come to know Him. I was raised Catholic and went to church every week, but I never really connected with Him. It wasn't until I started to experience some tough times that I turned to Him for help, and He answered my prayers in ways I never could have imagined. If you're looking to build a relationship with God, start by spending time with Him. Get to know Him better, what He's like, what His goals are for you, and what you can do to help support each other. Be open to the experience and let God work in His own way. The rewards will be worth it. One of the best ways to build a relationship with God and Jesus is to take communion with them every day. This shows them that you are truly committed in building a covenant between them and yourself. But can I take communion at home? The answer is a clear yes. I know some Catholics will not like to hear that, but actually when Jesus first introduced the practice of communion as a spiritual ritual, He was in someone's home, not in the church. Bottom line is this: if you're a Christian and want to take communion, you can do it in your home or virtually any place. All you have to do is take a little bit of bread and a little bit of juice, and this can be your communion. Or there are even companies that make communion packets that contain a wafer and a little juice cup. See in the description below for more details. We also are going to be doing a video on taking communion at home, so watch for that video when we release it. Let's continue. You have to lean on God. He is the only one that can help you. He won't necessarily change your life in the way you want Him to, but He will be with you through everything. It definitely took effort on my part to build a relationship with God. I had to learn how to pray and how to really listen to Him. I also had to learn how to trust Him. even when things were tough. But it was worth it. I've never felt so connected or supported in my life. To be honest, there's no need to go through a difficult circumstance to start building an intimate relationship with God. If you're like me and you have a good understanding of church and Christianity, however you feel the relationship you have with God isn't quite right, I'd like to guide you through the actions that I took to become close to God. I would also like you to realize that a relationship with God is not a distant dream that only your spiritual leaders or pastors can achieve. God desires to know all of us, His children, deeply, which also includes you. So what is a personal relationship with God? A personal relationship with God is when you have a connection with Him that is unique and specific to you. It's different for everyone, and there is no one right way to build that relationship. What matters most is that you make the effort to connect with God, and that you open yourself up to the experience. What does it mean to know God? To know God is to have a deep understanding of who He is and what He wants for your life and what you can do to support Him. It's more than just knowing about God. It's about having a personal relationship with Him that also allows you to experience His love and guidance. So, how should you begin to develop a deeper relationship with God? The first step is to spend time with Him. Get to know Him better through prayer, scripture, reflection. As you learn more about who God is, you'll start to form a stronger bond with Him. If you're looking to establish an intimate relationship with God, start with prayer and reading His Word daily. This is the most effective method to build your relationship with God because practically no relationship can flourish without the intentional communication. God is absolute. However, God will not force us to spend any time with Him. We must be willing to do it and actively seek this goal on our own. The truth is that being with God will not always be an experience of spiritual joy and likely won't be as thrilling as worship that you can experience at Sunday morning services at church. However, consider this way. Talking to your spouse or your family member can be boring every day. However, it's vital and important for these relationships to strengthen. Quiet time in prayer and reading the Bible might not always be exciting, but it's well worth it. Talk to God anywhere you are. When I say talk, I don't mean only verbal conversations. You can also read scriptures, sing praise, and express your feelings through Him in whatever way you feel comfortable with. God is always present with us and is happy to listen to whatever we have to say. One of the best examples of someone who had an amazing personal relationship with God was David. David was a shepherd boy who went on to become the king of Israel. He experienced both victory and failure, but he always remained faithful to God. David knew how to communicate with God, and he spent time listening to what God had to say. As a result, David had a deep understanding of who God was and what He wanted for His people. Another way is to develop relationships with others. I believe that our relationships with others is important for developing our relationship with God. We were not meant to live in isolation, but rather communities. Find a good church home where you feel comfortable and start building relationships with people there. These people can become your prayer warriors, accountability partners, and encouragers as you journey through life. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." We need each other to grow and mature in our faith. We need to be together. The process of learning and developing with other like-minded Christians can help us become closer to God. We need to find people who truly want to follow Jesus and be like Him. When we are with them, it makes our relationship with God stronger. Attend Bible study. This is a great way to learn more about the Bible and to explore different aspects of your faith. there are likely many different Bible studies available in your community, so take advantage of them. These groups can provide you with support and encouragement as you grow in your relationship with God. Prayer is key. Prayer is the most important part of any relationship with God or anyone else. When you take the time to pray, you're opening up your heart and allowing Him to guide you. Make prayer a regular habit, and be sure to pray for all sorts of things, from the big stuff to the small stuff. Trust in Him. Sometimes we might not understand why things are happening in our lives, but we need to trust that God has a plan. He loves us and wants the best for us, even if we can't see it at the moment. Listen for God's voice. One of the best things about having a personal relationship with God is that we get to know Him better. As we spend time with Him, we start to hear His voice speaking to us. He might communicate through scriptures, through people in our lives, or even through our own thoughts. When we learn to recognize His voice, we can grow closer to Him and follow His plan for our lives. A relationship is a two-way street, right? So, while talking to God is important, listening to Him is just as necessary. Be attentive and listen to the things He has to say. He might be trying to tell you something important. The truth is, God is always speaking, but sometimes we fail to hear Him. It's easy to get caught up in the variety of activities like social media, television, as well as our friends and even at work. Be careful not letting distracting factors get in the way of listening to God's message. I'm sure I can provide more details on the importance of hearing God's voice, but I'll leave that topic for another video. It's not enough just to listen. We must act as if we are obeying what God speaks. I know that obedience can be a very scary word. However, it's true that the Bible is actually saying that people who believe in God will abide by His commands. Obeying God involves having to trust Him. If we don't believe in Him and follow the opposite of the things He tells us to do, if we don't trust Him, it's usually due to the fact that we're still not developing the trust in Him. Trust God with all of your heart. This is the big one. When we trust God, we're putting our faith in Him. It's hard to maintain an intimate relationship with someone that you do not have confidence in. It's true that I'm skeptical, and at times I struggle with being a good judge of people. However, I'll be clear, God is reliable. You can trust God with your entire heart and soul and be assured that He will not ever disappoint you. You can be sure to trust Him with emotions and thoughts that can sometimes rumble through your head. It is possible to tell Him when you're feeling angry or you're feeling scared, and you can rely on Him when you're committed a sin or failed. Be sure that He'll never refuse to listen. You can share with Him your darkest, most personal secrets, as well as the issues you prefer no one else to know about. He's, after all, the only one to help you overcome those issues in the first place. God already knows what you are feeling within. Do not try to hide it by using Christian terms and cliches when deep down inside you're hurting and not sure what to do. Tell God the feelings you're having within. God is God, and He's not bothered by the thoughts that are in your mind and in your heart. Let Him assist you in processing these thoughts. Finally, if you wish to establish a personal relationship with God, it is important to learn to be able to rely on Him. I'm fairly self-reliant and like to complete things by myself. However, I need to learn to rely on God for everything as I sought to establish my relationship with God. It was as simple as praying to God and asking for His guidance prior to making a choice. Asking God to be my companion throughout the day before I left to go to work, or asking Him to provide me with the wisdom I needed in my day-to-day conversations with Him throughout the day. Being dependent on God is vital to building an intimate connection with Him. The process of developing a relationship with God is an ongoing process. It's not something that happens in a single day, and at times you'll believe your relationship with God is stronger one day, but the next day you'll think that God isn't there. However, it's part of the process. As with all relationships that you have, God is one that is complex. You'll discover more about Him and interact with Him in more intimate ways throughout the seasons. As you get closer to Him, He'll reveal more of Himself to you and will teach you more about the person you can expect from Him. The bottom line is that it's important to find what works best for you when building a personal relationship with God. There is no right or wrong way to do it. Just make sure that you're putting in the effort to connect with Him. God wants to have personal relationships with each and every one of us, so don't be afraid to reach out to Him. If you want to build a relationship with God, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. We hope this video was helpful for you to learn more about what is the meaning of having a personal relationship with God, and that you will continue seeking Him throughout your life.